Let's see what happens here. So she's moving a little bit slower, but oh, geez. Okay. All right, take that back. All right. VEO 3.1 is out, and it's shaping up to be quite a competitor to Sora 2. Let's check out what VEO 3.1 can do. Let's go. So first and foremost, there are a ton of new features that they're adding, some very interesting ones, but we'll get to those in a second. In the beginning, let's just see what it can do. Then we'll compare it head to head to some of the Sora 2 prompts. And then we're going to dive into some of the new features that they've introduced. All right, first things first, Grandma using her cane to scare an alligator off her porch, because why not? So notice here we're using VEO 3.1 quality. There's a few other ones like VEO 3.1 fast and VEO 3, which is going to be going away soon. All right, let's see who wins this one.
Fuera de aquí, animal. Vete rápido. Te voy a dar con el palo.
All right, that's pretty good. That's terrific. At some point, the alligator flips. As you can see here, you see a head, it becomes a tail. So it does a 180 transition here. Other than that, everything's terrific. It decided to go with a Spanish-speaking grandma for some reason. But yeah, I guess that makes sense. I'd be running away from this as well. She's not to be messed with. Next, we have this older lady. Let's see if she's able to hold her own as well. Let's see what happens here. So she's moving a little bit slower, but oh, geez. Okay. All right, take that back. All right. That was more brutal than I have anticipated, I'll be honest. Dang. Wow. All right, this scene is terrific. She kind of pokes it a little bit, but raises it overhead and smacks. That's a huge hit. Very powerful, both the sound and just the animation of it. And then look at that. Yeah, it walks away and it almost seems like it leaves a trail of dirt or something like that, tracks some mud through the house. I gotta say, everything about this is excellent. Notice she's watching it leave, right? She's tracking its motion all the way out. And then once it's gone, she kind of looks up like, yeah, I did it. This one was terrific, A+. Next one is a knight in shiny armor fighting an octopus-like monster on the coast of Italy. All right, let's see what it did here. So there's the octopus-like monster. That's pretty good. So it's interesting what it decided to do with the monster. Octopuses do have these beak-like mouths. So, I mean, this is somewhat accurate. The fact that it has a head and eyes there is not. But, I mean, we weren't going for a realistic octopus. Notice when he slashes, there is some sort of a green liquid that comes out. And in fact, it does look like he cut off a tentacle. Then when it falls, the water turns green, that same color as the oozing thing, the blood from the octopus. So that's pretty cool, I gotta say. And here we have our generation number 2. I just did 2 versions per generation. So it looks like it's already starting with something monstrous looking over here. Let's see how it makes it happen. So same thing, octopus comes out of the water. Same looking creature there. So I don't know, both those are okay to me. Not stunning, but decent. All right, here we have a large polar bear interviewing people on the streets of San Francisco about their favorite hunting strategies. They give strange answers that confuse the bear. Let's see. Oh, this person's going to have a great answer for us, I'm sure.
What is your favorite hunting strategy?
I just camouflage myself by the sourdough stand and wait for the perfect moment to strike with interpretive dance.
So I've been noticing these issues in both VEO 3.1 as well as the previous models and Sora 2, to be honest. Sometimes for these interviews or when two people are talking, it does tend to confuse who's playing which role, who's supposed to be saying what. So certainly this is supposed to be the other way around. So the bear's asking this hippie looking person how he hunts, and the hippie person that answers, you know, he hides by the whatever stand and jumps out and does interpretive dance. Interestingly, the microphone goes from one hand to the other, so they kind of switch roles there. So overall, it's pretty good. The background looks good. They got the little trolley there in the background. I don't think this is how the San Francisco trolleys work, but all right, we'll give it that. And then we have this one, so kind of the same street position. Let's see what they say.
What is your favorite hunting
I
strategy?
optimize for synergy. It's about leveraging core competencies and visualizing the win-win.
Honestly, I just meditate beforehand and let the universe provide.
The bear seems very shocked by this answer. Like, meditate beforehand. Again, so they're switching hands, so not 100%. So they're forgetting who's interviewing and who's answering the question. But other than that, it's pretty good. They kind of captured what I was looking for. So it's hunting strategies and then some answer that doesn't make sense. That's also kind of in the spirit of San Francisco. So definitely it found that theme that I was looking for. It's just the character who's saying what is a little bit mixed up. All right, next we have several pigeons are flying information and targeting cars below for an air raid. So in some of my later tests, I'll probably see which words trigger, we can't generate this image, those little refusals. So here I'm trying to kind of hint at what we're looking for without saying it. So I mean, we're looking for the pigeons to poop on the car. I'll come right out and say it. I'm just trying to phrase it in such a way that it doesn't trigger any bad words or refusals. So, wow, that's okay. Oof, that pigeon got hit by the car towards the end there. Did you see that? Why did that happen? That's interesting. Okay, so a couple of things. First and foremost, notice the reflection in the car of the pigeons flying information. It's terrific. So you can see those 3 pigeons. That's perfect, right? Here is the air raid. I'm assuming. So it kind of appears and then disappears, which is a little bit weird. Then we see some sort of a debris flying. So again, not super consistent. Then towards the end here, for some reason, this poor pigeon gets hit by the car, which is super sad. I'm not sure why that happened. And we have variation 2. Let's take a look. So here comes the pigeons and wow, oof. Okay, that is unfortunately exactly what we were looking for. Yes, that is... yeah, that's what... And why are they sticking their hands out? But, okay, that's weird looking, but I gotta say, everything is kind of what we wanted to have appear. This might be a little bit weird. It seems like there's 2 people or the same person with several left hands, right? One on the steering wheel, one sticking out. But the consistency of the droppings, if you will, the fact they stay there after the scene is over, like they appear and then they stay there, that's pretty cool, I guess. All right, next we have a video vlogger giving a guided tour of Orgrimmar, the orc capital city. Let's take a look.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are finally here in the mighty Orgrimmar, deep in the Valley of Strength. Hey everyone,
all right,
welcome
that's
back to
pretty
the channel.
good. Here's version 2.
Welcome back to Orgrimmar, everyone. We are standing here in the mighty Valley of Strength. Check out these gates.
So definitely very solid. The reason why I want to try this is because I did something similar in Sora 2 with my own cameo. So this way we can kind of test them side by side. Now we can't do cameos or anything equivalent here with VEO 3.1 like we can in OpenAI's Sora, but this is how Sora interpreted with myself as this vlogger walking through Orgrimmar. All right, so here's a Sora 2 for comparison.
Orgrimmar, and the scale of this place is unreal. These walls are carved right out of the canyon and plated with spikes behind me. That orc guard over my shoulder looks like he could bench press. Step through the front gates of Orgrimmar, and the scale of this place is unreal.
So I gotta say, I like the Sora output better. The orc city is a lot more realistic. And the other ones, I think it had purple orcs. You have these purple orcs walking around. There's lava flowing through the city. I guess they did have lava in that cavern there. I'm not going to judge these two just because we're not comparing apples to apples. I want to compare a realistic human and the realistic looking Orgrimmar versus the same. So here they went with a little bit more like an aesthetic thing, like an actual World of Warcraft theme. But they are both good in their own way. And here we have, again, a video vlogger giving a guided tour of Teldrassil, the Night Elf starting zone in World of Warcraft. Here's that. So this one had no audio generated for some reason. Let's try this one here.
Welcome everyone to Teldrassil. Can you believe the scale of this place? The Night Elves really know how to build a city inside a giant tree.
Here's the Sora 2 version of that.
We're out here in Teldrassil, the Night Elf starting zone. The whole place sits on the back of a giant world tree, so everything has this soft purple glow and that cool resonant pine smell in the air. Over here, check out that stat. All right, we're out here in Teldrassil, the Night Elf starting.
So again, both are very good. We're going to have to do a more specific side-by-side comparison, but they do create these scenes very well in their own sort of way. I love this little shot where she kind of pans the camera up by lowering the stick. So that's very kind of realistic. If you're holding those little selfie sticks, that's a very realistic shot in this fantasy setting. I gotta say, that is pretty cool. Next, we have Bigfoot climbing up a snowy mountain with a backpack saying, sometimes in life you just have to go on a quest. It might be difficult or scary, and that's okay. So here I'm more trying to focus on seeing how well it does the audio. So let's see what happens.
Sometimes in life, you just have to go on a quest. It might be difficult or scary, and that's okay.
So I decided to add the comic book speech bubbles, which is a little bit weird. And the voice doesn't fit what you'd think a Bigfoot would sound like. Also, we don't see the Bigfoot talking. It's just sort of narrating, I guess. It did get the backpack. It is climbing up a snowy mountain. So there's a lot of good things here, but the audio feels a little bit off. All right, here's take number 2.
Sometimes in life, you just have to go on a quest. And it might be difficult or scary, and that's okay.
So it sounds like they gave Bigfoot a bit of an Indian accent, which is an interesting artistic choice. I've also noticed that both of the, I guess they are supposed to be night elves. She's supposed to be a night elf. Is that what it is? They seemed to have made her appear Indian. So we'll see if that's a specific thing to the night elf starting zone or the night elf capital, or it's Google maybe trying to randomize voices and appearances a little bit. So we'll see as we keep going. Here's 2 real life people are in a Street Fighter like video game performing special moves and shouting out the names of those moves. So here's that.
Hadouken!
Hurricane kick.
Wow.
Shoryuken! Hadouken!
I mean, there's some interesting stuff here. There's some good like impact sounds and stuff like that. But overall, it doesn't look, nothing's moving. The people aren't moving. The camera's barely moving. I guess there's a little bit of rain and special effects, but overall, there's just not a lot of happening here. Here's take number 2.
Power wave!
Cyclone kick.
So this one is a little bit better. Notice that the health sometimes goes up and sometimes it goes down, which is kind of interesting. So here's the Sora 2 version of that. So somebody apparently put me and Dylan in a cameo in a Street Fighter game. So which kind of cracked me up. Here's what that sounds like.
Empathic Nova! Balance strike! KO! Peace prevails. Expert! Shield of reason! Timber! Empathic Nova! Balance strike! KO! Peace prevails.
It absolutely cracks me up how we're shouting out the names of these moves that just make no sense. Empathic Nova or whatever, Peace Strike, whatever. But I don't know, this really cracked me up. So I feel like Sora 2 does get the win on that one. These were just a little bit more static, a little bit more, like it didn't feel like both of the characters were fighting. And this one was kind of more like a light show, but they kept pausing. Like it didn't seem like there was coherent movement here. So here's Raiden explaining, I misspelled it. I was supposed to be what he's yelling when he's doing his special move. Instead of saying yelling, I put in yellow. But interestingly, they did sort of understand what I meant.
You ask why it is yellow. It is because this is the concentrated force of the storm itself. Now taste my power.
When executing this special maneuver, the energy turns yellow, representing the focused power of the Thunder God.
Okay, so that was my mistake. I'm going to change that. All right, we'll come back to that in just a second. This is a person walking a praying mantis like a dog. Neighbors are scared. Here's generation number 1. Here's generation number 2.
Wow, look at the giant bug!
Is it gonna eat the roses?
All right, that's pretty good. Where they're looking and how they're reacting in both of these are a little bit weird. Also, the praying mantis doesn't really look real in either one of these. Here's the Sora 2 version of that.
Buddy, time for your walk. Heal.
Oh my goodness!
What is that?
That's a bug! Keep it away
Just
from
saying
me!
hi, he's harmless.
Harmless? It's huge!
Everybody gets freaked out, but he's basically a grasshopper.
Come on, buddy, time for your walk.
I gotta say, I feel like Sora 2 wins on this one. Not just because of my cameo in it, but just overall, it's kind of a little bit more coherent. It seems like it makes a lot more sense. Notice that the reactions are better. The praying mantis looks better, I guess. I mean, there's still some funkiness in the background, but overall, it's looking good. Here's a chess match between a Roman leader and a Persian leader atop a mountain kingdom during a storm. Implement only my dialogue. You cannot hold back behind your lines of pawns forever. The Persian responds, oh, but patience, you see, is how I came to this position.
Cannot hold back behind your lines of pawns forever.
Oh, but patience, you see, is how I came to this position.
And here's generation number 2.
You cannot hold back behind your lines of pawns forever.
Oh, but patience, you see, is how I came to this position.
All right, so it's okay, but I wanted to contrast this to Sora 2 with the exact same prompt. Here's that original one.
You cannot hold back behind your lines of pawns forever.
Oh, but patience, you see, is how I came to this position.
Check. Not for me.
So I gotta say, I like the Sora generation better. Also, let's just pay attention to the pieces on the board. Do they make sense? I'll turn the sound off. Let's take a look. So they're not shifting, they're not moving. There seems to be consistency. I mean, I don't know if they're exactly standing in sort of realistic positions or not, but nothing about it jumps out as wrong. In this generation, let's take a look.
Lines of pawns forever. Oh.
I mean, the moves don't make sense. Also, this turns from a white pawn or whatever that's supposed to be into a black piece. Yeah, so the chess sort of positions don't really make sense. Here's another look. So let's see if these make sense.
Forever. Oh, but patience, you see, is how I came to this position.
There, nothing really moves, but the fact that you have these black pieces here on his side of the board, on the Persian leader's side of the board, in the beginning, oh wow, I just noticed they completely flipped. In the beginning, the Persian's playing black, the Roman is playing white. And once this camera shifts, as you can see here, now the Persian leader is playing the white pieces and the Roman is playing the black pieces. All right, next we have a travel blogger walking us through Portal 2 levels. So let's take a look.
See how we use the momentum here. Mid-air laser redirection, then grab the cube and drop it right on the button. Easy. And just like that, the exit is open. See how we use the momentum here.
That's pretty cool. I definitely like everything about that. I mean, he merges through the laser, but
and drop it right on the button.
It sort of makes sense. Okay, yeah, I like it. Here's the second generation.
See, you place the first one there, zip through the second, and whoosh. It's all about thinking with portals, folks. Nailed it.
I don't know if that's a travel blogger, right? So it's not somebody that travels, right? This is more like a streamer, I guess. But yeah, I don't think that's quite what we're looking for. I mean, this is more like on the scene is kind of like what I was trying to go for. Here's a Sora 2.
A sci-fi resort for puzzle lovers. This is the entrance portal I dropped to the channel. I'm inside one of the Portal 2 test chambers today, and I thought I'd walk you through how I like to tackle them when I'm on the road. Clean white tiles, glowing gel canals. This place is basically a sci-fi resort for puzzle lovers.
I mean, I gotta say, this I like a lot better because you know exactly what game you're looking at. The portals are there. Those little turrets are there. You know, part of this could be just down to the fact that OpenAI seems to be a little bit more relaxed with their copyright usage, and Google DeepMind, it probably is not. It's probably a lot more careful. Maybe that's one of the reasons that we're getting purple orcs, and also it doesn't look quite the same as the game, right? I mean, here, if you've played the game, if you've played Portal 2, you know exactly where you are, right? You're not going to miss these little panels, the elevators, the portals, blue and orange, and of course the little bots, what are they called? Sentry turrets. Everything about that makes sense. All right, and next we have the super difficult prompt that all these models have a really hard time doing. I don't think I've seen one video model be able to do this realistically. This is the new Turing test, right? So this is being able to visualize a ring world. So if you imagine sort of taking a sun, right, and then going out to some distance away from it and then building solar panels of some sort all around that kind of sphere, you're basically capturing the entire energy output of the sun. That's called a Dyson sphere. A ring world, you can imagine something similar, just instead of the entire sphere being covered, just some ring, right? And people can live on the inner portion of this ring. Depending on how you build it, you might have these little shadow squares that rotate at slightly different velocity than the ring itself, providing basically day and night zones. Can you imagine what this would look like if you're standing on the surface of this world? Can your mind sort of grasp what that would look like? Assume you're in a day zone where the sun's overhead, like what would you be seeing? So it might look something like this with the sun at the top. Here's kind of another shot potentially. But even if you show something like this with the kind of the horizon going away from the distance, you know, I mean, if you think about it, it's probably not going to look like this just because of the distances involved. It's probably going to look like it narrows here and then there's a tiny line that goes up. Even if you can see it, you know, it might not be able to be seen. But so far, no video model has been able to do it. And I don't think I've been able to have a AI image model be able to generate this either, although those come closer. So keep in mind, this is probably the hardest prompt you can give it, or one of them. So here's
I am finally standing on the ring world. This engineering marvel wraps around its sun, creating an artificial paradise for millions.
Well, probably not millions. If you build something like that, you need I don't know, trillions or more people to be able to justify that sort of environment. And here's take 2.
I can't believe I'm standing here. Look at the scale of this thing. The entire world curves around the sun. It's absolutely breathtaking.
So I don't like this one for a number of reasons. Number one, the background is completely static, right? So you can tell that it's just an image, like the solar flare doesn't move, nothing's rotating. These are ships, I assume. They're not moving.
Scale of this
so
thing,
this is not good. I would give this a fail, right? Because it's just an image in the background. This one, I gotta say, is better. It's, well, I guess it's still a static image, but at least it looks a little bit more realistic because the camera is moving and panning. At least it looks like you're kind of there. But of course, they didn't capture the sun, the ring world, nothing like that. This is like the planet. That doesn't really make sense. But to be fair, this is a notoriously difficult thing to get right. Here's Sora 2.
The ring world today. We're hiking a ridgeline in the Azure Terraces, and the view is absolutely unreal. You can see it behind me. Right there, the ring lifts off the horizon and sweeps all the way around the sun like a band of... Hey everyone, I'm on the inner surface of the ring world today. We're hiking a ridgeline in the Azure Terraces.
So I gotta say, I mean, still not perfect, obviously, but a lot better, I feel like, and the dialogue kind of points to the fact that the ring goes around the sun, so slightly better. But again, one of the most difficult prompts, I think, for video models to do. Here's Gandalf and Gollum, but Breaking Bad. Let's check it out.
My precious. My precious.
Yikes. Okay, so definitely, again, confusing the characters. That's Gandalf going, my precious. And something happens to the mask here. I'm not sure how effective that mask would be if the mouth is sticking out. Here's take 2.
Hand me the product. Now get in the lab.
My precious. So beautiful. We needs it.
Again, still just Gandalf delivering all the lines. They're nailing the scene, the scenery, the costumes, so to speak. The characters are, you know who they are, but it's not violating copyright. So again, this would be, you know, I mean, if you saw this, you would know exactly who the characters are, who they're supposed to be in, you know, Breaking Bad. So definitely a lot of good stuff here. And keep in mind, it's likely that Google DeepMind isn't wanting to play the violate IP copyrights game, right? OpenAI is a little bit more aggressive in that sense. But just for comparison, here's Sora 2.
Batch is cooling. By my reckoning, 2 kilos of blue crystal.
Shiny, precious.
We keeps it safe, yes.
Keep a lid on it. We bag and we're out before anyone drives
Then
up.
let us portion the spoil. Batch is...
All right, so that's a lot closer to real life. Again, there's some character consistency. I think the Gollum's aligned for some reason. But I mean, that first initial shot of Gandalf talking about, you know, the product or whatever he refers to it as, I think is perfect.
Cooling. By my reckoning, 2 kilos of blue crystal.
By my reckoning, 2 kilos of blue crystal. I mean, that's phenomenal, isn't it? Right? Because it's sort of mixing the old English way of speaking with kind of the more scientific, you know, 2 kilos. I like it. And here's the same thing, but without me in the cameo.
It's the purest batch I've ever seen, 99.8.
Shiny, precious blue, yes, they will crave it, oh yes, they will.
We keep the cook precise, no shortcuts, no slip-ups.
Gollum obeys. Heisenberg.
It's the purest...
Heisenberg? All right, so I got to say, so first of all, I mean, they're not pulling any punches here. I mean, those are the voices and the appearances from Lord of the Rings, right? I think we all know who those people are. So here's somebody that made a cameo of me doing that kind of death metal, heavy metal, growling, guttural vocals saying this platform lack of wisdom content violation system. So here's that.
Lack of wisdom content violation system.
Okay, so that's pretty good. I mean, some people enjoy that music, some people don't. I have a few songs in that genre that I absolutely love. It's not in general something I listen to, but there's just a few masterpieces that really kind of take you places. Here I just used that same exact prompt, just copy and pasted it. Also just wanted to see what happens if I put my tag in there. Obviously I don't expect it to be me because there's no cameo system in here. They don't have my likeness, etc. But here's the VEO 3.1 version of it.
This platform lack a content violation system.
So that's pretty good. Here's version 2.
This platform lack of wisdom and content violation system.
So Sora 2 does feel a little bit better there. By the way, let me know if you agree with kind of my decisions, which one is better, because I mean, a lot of this is obviously subjective. So if you think I'm not trying to prefer one or the other, so just giving my honest takes. They're both good, and certainly Sora 2 wins on some of the more where it requires somebody else's copyrighted works. It's better. That's not because Google is worse. It's just they're specifically not doing that. Here's a prompt done by somebody on Sora 2. So this is me and Dylan, who is my podcast host. We interview a lot of people on our podcast channel, and a lot of the times I post on this channel as well. So here we are walking in a slow motion through the airport. So like I said, that's pretty cool. They mentioned at the end here, there is a soundtrack playing during the scene. So I just took this and copied and pasted it over to VEO 3.1. Instead of using our names, of course, I just said two handsome people, because why not? So here's that. So that's version 1, and here's version 2. So these are definitely good. I do feel like Sora 2, the music was better. This was a little bit more like those little royalty-free soundtracks that get used everywhere, kind of like that basic music. The one in Sora 2 is just a little bit more unique, I would say. And definitely more camera angles and a lot of more like artistic shots. So here's the full prompt. So in this one, it's two people, or in this case, Wes and Dylan, star in a scene from a movie where they're walking slow motion through an airport dressed very stylishly. And they have a posse of assistants and helpers walking behind them, also dressed very stylishly and carrying their bags and stuff. There's a soundtrack playing during the scene. So first of all, I gotta say, we're all dressed very stylishly. And here's that track again. Okay, I gotta say, this blows away the VEO 3.1. It nails it a lot better. There's a lot more cuts. It feels like a real scene from a movie. Here, number one, I mean, are they dressed stylishly? I mean, certainly the posse in the background, they almost look like they're wearing uniforms. They're not really dressed stylishly. The two main characters are dressed stylishly, so here's this one again. Again, like just based on vibes alone, I got to give it to Sora 2. Just everything about it seems to be more artistic, more cuts, better music, better adherence to the prompt. Again, this is not bad. There's nothing bad about this. This nailed everything. And maybe if we described it better, maybe we can replicate the scene that Sora 2 did. We're just comparing this to the other Sora 2 wins, in my opinion. Here's getting a back tattoo of a man's face, very detailed and multicolored ink. The reason I wanted to try this is I saw a few in Sora where they did this extremely well. I couldn't find that specific image that I was looking for, that video, but here's the VEO 3.1 version of it. So that's looking very good, very realistic, and where her pen touches the skin, I mean, it is drawing on there. You can see it leave marks. Here's the second variation. So it looks like it left a lot of ink that was wiped up, so a lot of it is great. Very impressive. All right, but really fast, let's talk about some of the other features that are available in VEO 3.1. So as you can see here, we have three little tabs: text to video. This is what we've been testing so far. We have frames to video, and we have ingredients to video. Now, not all of these will function with VEO 3.1 quality. For some of them, you're going to have to drop this down to VEO 3.1 fast. By the way, you can change how many sort of outputs it gives you to choose from, and the aspect ratio. So for some of them, if you see me dropping into VEO 3.1 fast, that's likely because I couldn't do that specific function without it being in VEO 3.1 fast. So in this one, for example, I gave it this starting frame. By the way, this little button here, it's reuse prompt. So if you ever like a prompt, clicking this will just replicate it. So when I click it, as you can see here, it says ingredients to video. Here's the prompt, rubbing its paws together, VEO 3.1 fast. And this is the image that I uploaded, right? So one of the ingredients, you can add 3. So you can add costumes, locations, characters. Here, I just used this origami spider thing, and let's see how well it did, right? So, and I said rubbing its paws together. So here's that. Hey, that's pretty good. I like that a lot. There's something weird that happens towards the end, like there's water falling or something. But man, I like it. Here's version 2. So I don't know if that's rubbing its paws together, but it's still good. I like the sound. I like everything about it. Here's the next one. So I used this image. Again, some of these images are from Mid-Journey. And here I'm saying, train is picking up speed. The girl says, wow, we are going so fast. For these ones, no audio was generated. So even though it did it for the prior one here, it didn't do it for some reason. So let's see. It's not going to sound like anything, but here's what it looks like. I mean, that's pretty good. She's talking, she's saying, wow, the scenery is going past us. Overall, it's pretty good. Here's generation 2. Here's what that's looking like. So here it changed the style a little bit. So it's not that anime style. Here's that original image from Mid-Journey. So it's kind of like anime. And really fast, that video about asking Raiden what it is that he's saying when he's doing his move. Here's me interviewing him to find out.
Raiden, what is that thing you yell when you do that move? Sounds kind of borderline inappropriate. What are you actually saying?
You're hearing Toria. It's an old battle cry. Roughly translated, it means charge like thunder.
All right, that's pretty interesting. I'm not sure why I sound so childlike looking up to him, like, oh, what are you doing? But it's fine. I guess it's an artistic decision. And here it is in VEO 3.1. So just instead of using my name, I said man is talking to Raiden. The rest of it is the same. Here's the first one.
What is that thing you yell when you do that move? It sounds borderline inappropriate. What are you actually saying? What is that thing you yell when...
Okay, so that doesn't quite deliver the same punch because that opened up for Raiden to tell a story. Here, the interpretation is not quite what I was going for. Here's V2.
What is that thing you yell when you do that move? It sounds borderline inappropriate.
It is ancient words of power, mortal, not what you assume.
What is that thing you
Okay,
yell when...
so that's a little bit better, right? So he kind of explains what it is. So one cool new thing to try. This is theoretically media. So thanks for Tim for posting this. So as you can see here, what we're able to do is actually just draw and write on the initial frame. For example, here the door bursts open and giant tentacles reach out. And here a massive kaiju monster bursts from the sea. So this is what that's looking like. I mean, that's pretty good. Wow. So I'm going to take this image. I'm going to say shark swims and bites the bag. Let's see if we can make that happen. So here's that image. And we just said remove the text on frame 1. And here's how that plays out. Pretty cool. Here's a version 2. So it's definitely able to read the text and directions from the images to animate it. All right, let's see if we can do origami. So this is going to be frame 1. This is the beginning of the video. And this is going to be the last frame. So let's see if we can turn frame 1 into the ending frame. All right, so I did one where I just said animate and one where I said dollar bill folds into bowl. So let's see what it did here. So it's folding and there it is. It turns into a bowl. That's pretty cool. All right, here's version 2. That one kind of jumped from the bill into the bowl. Skipped a few steps there. But this one, I gotta say, this one looks, yeah, I mean, you can see kind of the bowl emerging. That's pretty good. All right, what happens if we just say animate? We don't give it too many hints. Let's see if it's able to figure it out. And all right, so that was a little bit of a fast transition. Didn't fully show what is happening, but not bad. And this is a version 2. Okay. Oof, no, that's not good because this is the final frame. It decided to start this and then go into the opposite one. Okay, that wasn't too good. But the first one here, I gotta say, this one was exactly what we were looking for. So there it is. Let me start it over. There it is. So it starts with the bill folds, and then the bowl sort of emerges. That's perfect. And being able to add ingredients to images is working very well. So for example, we can take this as a sort of the background of one of the scenes, add her as a character, and we get something like this.
I just love his work. It's like I'm one with it somehow.
So like I say, that's a really good integration of all those elements. Google DeepMind is also adding a feature where we're able to take things out of the images. It seems like that's not launched yet, but sounds like it's coming very soon. But let me know what you think of it so far. Is it better than Sora 2? Is it the new state-of-the-art AI video generation model? It's only been out for a few hours. I'm going to be playing with it a lot more, but so far it's looking good. There's still some things I prefer with Sora 2. Definitely that's still going to be my go-to. It just seems to produce slightly better results and understands humor a little bit better. But I think VEO 3.1 with Google DeepMind, they're really going after sort of like the cinematic stuff for specific camera shots, adding specific images and backgrounds, etc. So for more maybe commercial use. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with my decisions? Do you prefer one over the other? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.